McGorry opens up only to the doctors about his life before acting.
I was the most miserable I ever was in my entire life.
That's later.
You and your friends did at Trotter Lake.
What's Trotter Lake?
It's rude to eavesdrop. Hey, wait. Bonnie.
I'm meeting Annalise at court.
I know, just... Who told you?
I just confront you with the fact that you and your friends gang raped a girl, and your response is, who told me?
No, I wasn't a part of that. It was my party, but I was downstairs. They were upstairs.
You could have stopped them.
I was drunk.
What an original excuse.
We're back with Matt McGorry from How to Get Away with Murder. He's a big fan.
Yes, a huge fan. And you know, it's interesting this season to see your character getting a, you know, he's kind of like a little snitch now.
Yeah,
I was so
it's
shocked.
changed.
You two want to switch?
That'd be great, actually. Yeah, can I sit in your lap?
What do you guys? So, what are you talking about now?
Well, you know, on How to Get Away with Murder, he plays Asher.
Okay.
Right?
Yes,
Asher Millstone?
Asher Millstone, that's right.
Yes, and actually, you know, he's been this really kind of cute, quirky, enduring character, as you can see.
That's one way to look at it. I appreciate that, but I think, you know, some people might look at it a different way. But yeah.
Sure, but you know, this season he's really become like a snitch.
Yeah.
I was really shocked.
But you know what's also interesting is, like, you know, sometimes I think about this too when people are like mad at me, and I'm like, what is it saying that, like, we're upset watching the show that he's gonna snitch on, like, murderers? Like, what's it saying about us? You know
I
what I
guess
mean?
that's true. I never thought of it.
You never think about it that way, yeah.
But they're his murdering friends.
That's right.
I think that's why we feel
So you're snitching on murdering friends this season?
I am. But if you guys are murderers, I would never tell.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But you're sort of this character that was born with a silver spoon in his mouth.
Yes.
Now, I understand that you made a bit of a transition. You were a trainer and bodybuilder.
I was.
And then you moved into the world of acting? Really?
Yeah, no, I was a trainer for 10 years. I started it around, I guess, like 17 doing it, and I loved it. I mean, sort of, imagine for the same reason you guys probably love your job a lot too, is you get to make a big difference in people's lives and teaching people that they can sort of do what they want with their lives if they take...
Well, motivation. Your
yeah.
brand, I mean, you've changed gears a little bit, but obviously stay fit. So how do you do it?
Well,
Finding time to work out with your schedule and with a new career.
Yeah, it's tricky. It's, you know, days on set can be long, you know, 13, 14-hour days. It can be tricky. So it has to be a priority, you know. It's interesting for me making the transition from the world of being competitive and comparing myself to, you know, being at a gym of trainers and comparing yourself to other trainers. It's been sort of a journey over the last couple. I really stopped competing about 5 years ago, and it's been an interesting journey to figure out what it's like to find a place of moderation, too. Because, you know, I mean, the reason that any of us work out, ultimately, is we want to be happy in one way or the other. Whether that's, you know, we want to look a certain way or something like that. But I think it's important to step back and realize that, you know, the happiness that we hope to achieve by looking a certain way, sometimes it doesn't always line up. And for me, the best I ever looked was the bodybuilding show I did, and I was shredded, and I was the most miserable I ever was in my entire life.
I bet.
Because you were shooting for this perfection, this ideal, and the minute you got there, you realized you weren't happy.
Well, I mean, I was happy with the aesthetic,
way you looked.
But the fact that I was working out twice a day every day, I was doing cardio on Christmas morning. Every piece of food I weighed, I weighed out and measured, and like it was. I mean, I was tired.
But that takes a lot of discipline, a lot of discipline.
Which is,
you mentioned happy, but the other thing is the 2 H's, happy and healthy. So when you were cut and you were in competitions, did you feel healthier?
No.
See, so then that's
exactly.
Well, that's the key.
Yeah, and I think the key of the balance with the health and the happiness, it's like, I think sometimes we say that we want things. It's like, interestingly, as a trainer, you know, when clients are like, oh, I want to do a cleanse. I'm like, why do you want to do a cleanse? Like, I want to be healthy. And you dig a little deeper, and it's very rarely about being healthy. It's usually about quick weight loss. And quick weight loss is not maintainable. And so I think when you look at it, and I guess the psychology of people, we feel like, oh, we do all these bad things, therefore we have to make it really hard on ourselves for a little bit of time. But
and the toxins.
Yeah, and the toxins.
You fit in on this stage.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes, he does.
It's actually someone back there asked me if I was a doctor, actually. The hair guy, I swear. Yeah, no. You and me together.
You know, I just saw a glimpse of the character you played on Orange is the New Black. You know, that's where we originally fell in love with you, and you were cute, and you actually ended up getting her pregnant, which ends up being an unfortunate thing. But I used to work in a prison.
Did you?
So yeah, so I spent like 4 years as medical director of a male facility.
Oh wow.
But to see, actually a relationship unfolding in front of me that actually seemed like a healthy one, you know, as much as you could ever have one.
Sure.
Because at the end of the day, those types of relationships end up being prosecuted, you know? So it's just kind of an interesting experience for me. They do, because it ends up being a rape situation.
Right, well, there's an inherent power differential, and potentially you can't actually give consent, you know, as an inmate. And, you know, it's nice to imagine, I think, you know, the character had the best of intentions, but you have to imagine in a world where, you know, she wasn't locked up and there weren't a very limited amount of male guards, like, what could the situation have been like?
Absolutely.
You know?
Matt, real quickly before you head out, any cool new upcoming projects?
You know, I'm in the very early stages of producing my first feature called Stealing Mona right now.
Oh,
it's interesting. Yeah, I don't know, it's a very new thing for me, but it's kind of cool to be in a different seat and figuring out that as it goes.
What's that about?
with it.
It's about a couple idiots. I play one of them. And they, you know, they're kind of small-time criminals, and they decide to steal the Mona Lisa. Yeah.
I think Drew was auditioning for a part.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. I think if you're looking for...
I mean, you might be too smart. I'm a little worried about that.
I can play it down. I can dumb it down.
Cool. All right, great.
So can he.
Matt, you get extra cool points for your bracelet. I noticed it. He's got a Black Lives Matter bracelet on that, so he gets extra cool points for that.
Appreciate it.
Love it.
Thanks.
Matt, thanks so much.
Thank you, guys.
Best of luck with everything. You can tune in and watch Matt on How to Get Away with Murder. We'll be right back.
Coming up next.